Fox News' Bret Baier was really on a rampage yesterday. So he had on representatives from the Biden campaign and from the Trump campaign.
Back to back.
Back to back, and he went hard against both of them. Let's take a look at Biden Press Secretary T.J. Ducklo first.
Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
Bret, we are not going to engage. This is straight from the Trump campaign.
But yeah, they're using it.
And what it does, Bret, is it's trying to distract the American people.
They're using it. They talk about it every day. Can you say yes or no?
That's because they talk about it every day, Bret, because they don't have a coherent
Well, you
strategy.
have an answer. Yes or no?
Bret, they talk about it every day because they don't have a coherent argument for why Donald Trump deserves re-election, deserves 4 more years. We know that he lied to the American people. We know that he has not shown leadership during this crisis, and they are desperate to throw anything they can against the wall to try to distract from that fact.
I understand, but you can't answer the question.
That's
wow.
What happens when you listen to too much Pod Save America. That's it. That is who this guy is.
But you know what's so funny is like I wasn't really thinking that was true until he responded like that, and then I was like, oh, why does he just say no?
Well,
right?
The other one, which we didn't play, was about China, and Bret was like, look, did Vice President Biden oppose the China travel ban on the day it was announced? And he's like, I'll send you the fact checks, Bret. I'll send you the fact checks. Vice President Biden wants to keep America safe, and he was like, look, I'm just trying to get you to answer.
Right.
On the day that it happened, yes or no? He was like, the Trump campaign talks about it every day. It would be clarifying to get an answer from you. Did he call it xenophobic on the day that happened? Remember, Tim Murtaugh was on our show saying the same thing. And you kind of have to let it go because as far as we know, the Biden campaign has not said yes or no whether he supported that travel ban at the day. So in both cases, it's very clear, I think, what's happened here is that TJ is used to doing, and I looked up some of his other interviews with like Lester Holt and with these other media people who don't throw him a tough question.
Who are very sympathetic.
Yeah.
And I found that response really puzzling because, like I said, I really wasn't actually thinking that Biden was probably reading from a teleprompter until he responded that way. I'm like, oh, because it would be so easy. Why? The fact that he responded that way made it a much bigger thing than if you're
exactly.
Like, no, of course not.
Yeah.
Like, what a stupid question. Why are you getting your talking points from the Trump campaign? Done. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But he was equal opportunity in going hard yesterday. It's funny because we actually had Tim Murtaugh on this show yesterday. Right. So it doesn't surprise me based on his failure to answer some of the questions here that he had some trouble with Bret Baier as well. Let's take a listen to that.
And what you have now with in the wake of the excerpts from the Bob Woodward book is that I think what's happened and what's got everybody all excited is that's all packaged up and it says Bob Woodward's name on the cover. But in fact, the things that are contained in there are the same things that President Trump was saying publicly. He views it as part of his job as President of the United States.
It's not true.
It is,
when he was saying publicly that the virus would go from 15 to 0 and then it was magically going to wash away, that is not the same thing. He's telling Bob Woodward that it's a deadly virus that travels over the air and it's really serious and I like to downplay it. He was not saying the same things publicly as he was privately to Bob Woodward.
It was public knowledge at the time. The Washington Post and others, and it was discussed in coronavirus briefings. Everyone knew that it was transmitted through things like coughing and
but what you just
sneezing.
said was whether what he was saying privately and publicly was the same. It's not.
Dr. Fauci says it is the same. You just played the soundbite from him. Dr. Fauci said there was no appreciable difference between what the president was discussing privately versus what he was saying publicly.
With Fauci, not with Bob Woodward.
From Dr. Fauci.
With Fauci, not Bob Woodward. I want to move on.
The question is, was the president being straight with the American people, and he was.
Okay.
I don't think that they are prepared, the Trump campaign, when they go on Fox News to like ever get any pushback.
Yeah.
Like they think they're just going to be, and we've played it here a few times. I mean, oftentimes their propaganda does go unchallenged, but there have been a few instances where they've gone so far and so outrageously outside of like what we all witnessed and know to be true that even Fox News is like, wait a second, that is not true. I mean, well, look, we covered it here. He said to Woodward, it is deadly and it is way worse than the flu, and then repeatedly told the American people, it's just like the flu.
And not just like weeks later.
Yes.
Like weeks and weeks later, that was a public talking point. And yeah, that needs to be answered for. No, so in both of these cases, what did bother me really was that the Biden press clip that we played It was complete, like, you know, when the Trump campaign makes a fool out of themselves, it's on CNN and it's on MSNBC and everybody, all these blue check liberal journalists on Twitter are like, ha ha ha, this stuff. Not one word on this TJ. It's like, oh, it's like TJ is the blessed son. You can't touch him. I mean, we all know why. It's because he gives them access and he's the one who controls access to Joe Biden. He's got to be honest. I mean, look, you say what you will about the Obama people. At least they could speak on national television. I mean, this kid melted down. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was just strange to me. It raised some questions in my mind. We'll just leave it that way. And then on the Trump campaign part, look, there is no answer for it because it's unanswerable. Like, they have him dead to rights on audio. What they normally do is say, oh, it's not true. That didn't happen. He's just lying to sell books. When you've got the audio and when we all heard what the president said, there is no reconciling the two. Yeah. So that's the spot they're in. All right, more rising for you after this.